Did General Hospital even try to have a May sweeps? What was the point of this past month of General Hospital? I feel like the writers and the producer Frank Valentini just love to make the show have no momentum. These producers and writers actively try to take away any momentum this show can possibly have. They gave us such a boring May sweeps. It just really shows the problems with the show. And it all comes always down to how they have to stretch everything out for way too long. I don't know why they do that, but they do that. And they also like to give a lot of time to things that clearly just aren't working or that clearly are just boring. And then they backburn their only stories that have any momentum. It makes no logical sense. General Hospital makes no logical sense when it comes to its creative decisions. And that's why it is in 10th place in my rankings. And honestly, very close to Days of Our Lives in last place. Because General Hospital literally gave us nothing. I don't care about Willow or Sasha and so many of these characters that got a lot of screen time in May. They are the epitome of boring and fast-forward material. Carly learning that Nina is Willow's mother should be nice and dramatic, but it's going to fall flat because the character of Willow is flat. I'm also... Michael being so pissy with Sunny isn't making a whole lot of sense to me either. Because when Sunny killed his biological father, AJ, Michael could give a shit. But because Sunny cheated on his mother, now he suddenly gives a shit and Sunny's the worst. It's stupid. But you know, we're always going to get a lot of Carly and Sunny, but it didn't work in May. A lot of it fell flat like the majority of these stories. I want to be sucked into the Elizabeth story, and I've said in the past I'm intrigued, but General Hospital just won't move things along. They never want to move things along. They're stretching this out too much already to the point that nobody's going to care. Like all their stories. The Elizabeth story is just bizarre. She's sleepwalking and whatever. And it doesn't help that they continue to attach Elizabeth to Finn. And Finn, much like Willow and Sasha, another character that constantly falls flat. And so that's going to continue to help this story fall flat, like so many others on the show. The Marshall story, Hat Dad, as everybody on the internet calls him, continues to fall flat. Because they continue to write it so boring. I just don't understand this May sweeps. What we got from it, because we got nothing. It was a very boring May sweeps. I mean, such a riveting May sweeps. They gave us mother-daughter pedicures. How dramatic. Great television. They've decided to really climax nothing. I mean, I think they think that the climax is Carly learning about Willow and Nina, that Nina is Willow's mother. It's just a problem that I just don't care about so many of these stories. General Hospital has found itself in my fast forward button. You know, every month I talk about what is the most boring soap opera of the month. Well, it's General Hospital for May, which is telling because it's supposed to be May sweeps, but they gave us nothing, nada. And of course, the teens are the only characters on General Hospital, in my opinion, since I started watching this show again almost a year ago. They have been the only story with real energy. Because look, I'm talking about all these other stories that are falling flat because they just don't have the energy. The characters are just not interesting. You know, at least Esme can be interesting, even though I think the writing for her isn't doing her any favors, turning her into a cartoon villain, and they seem to be hinting at Felicia being her mother, but that to me is just General Hospital and Frank making the same mistakes over and over again. They tried to tie Peter to Anna, and look how well that worked out. So they think they could just put Esme in Felicia's orbit and hope for the best, I guess. I don't know. If you're if you're going to have to redeem your villain, why do you take everything so far in the first place? Like, if you could have better writing, you can foresee this happening, and then you don't have to do all this propping. It's similar to characters I've talked about on Days recently, just in these rankings this month. You know, having to prop characters means you're doing it wrong. That's what all it comes down to. They're doing the villainous thing for Esme, where they've already taken it too far, and they know that they're writing her into a cartoon, but they think that they can maybe put her as Felicia's daughter to make it all better. Dumb. Another part of her redemption could be that Ryan, her father, seems to be forcing her to seduce Nick, and they have this creepy relationship. That's what we're doing. You know, we have Spencer, who's working overtime to try and make Trina be innocent. I mean, she is innocent. He's trying to find all this evidence. He did some snooping. Finally, at least found the pills that Esme drugged Trina with on the camping trip. But, you know, nobody else seems to be doing any work, which just continues to make this story so stupid that the police do no work, Trina's family do no work. We have all these people, Spinelli supposed to be finding things out on Trina, but nobody can, and Spencer's left to do it alone. Like, on one hand, it works for them as this potential couple, but it makes the overall story so weak and dumb. Because, like I've been saying from the start, the foundation of Esme trying to make Trina look guilty is bad. It's weak, and it makes everybody look stupid. They're also hinting at the potential of Trina and Rory. I've talked about in the past how I do want to see Trina and Rory as a couple, but more so just as a roadblock to Spencer having to win Trina over. Because I don't want Trina with the cop with the fucking tone-deaf writing this story has already had and will continue to have. This should have been the trial for May Sweeps, so they can just get it over with and move on and keep the momentum they have and energy that they have with the teen scene. But no, they're going to stretch it out into the summer, because that's all this show knows how to do, is stretch their stories out and ruin the show's own momentum. So I have no choice but to put General Hospital in 10th place in my rankings. I think this might be the lowest it's been. I think maybe it was 10th place one other time. I didn't go look before I recorded this. But yeah, I think Frank, Chris, and Dan continue to write and produce the show like utter trash. They are very good at giving you boring television and stretching things out, but that's about all they're good for.